What's up, Magic fans? We're diving back into the Duskmourn House of Horror, and today we've got something epic, a full collector booster box. That's right, we're about to crack open some of the coolest, creepiest, and most powerful cards in the set. Will we pull something game-changing, or will the darkness swallow us whole? Let's crack these packs and find out what treasures await. Trigger warning, quick heads up, this set has clowns, spiders, teeth horror, and a lot of other creepy crawlies. So if those freak you out, consider this your warning. For those of you who might be new to this, collector booster boxes are where the real spice is. You get nothing but the best from the foil rares and mythics to alternate art cards and some insane special treatments. It's like diving into the deep end of Magic collecting. Plus, with the Duskmourn House of Horror, there is no telling what twisted delights will uncover. So let's get started. As we go through, you will see that I am going to speed up the section of the common and uncommons. I will still make sure to deliver a lot of great insight, so I encourage you to continue to watch, but I just wanted to give you the heads up about that as we go through. As we crack into these common and uncommons, let's talk about some of the new mechanics in Duskmourn. The room cards function like split cards but are enchantments, giving you the flexibility. You unlock one door when you play it, and then later on you can pay to unlock the other. I love how this ties into the haunted house theme. Then there's Manifest Dread, which expands on the manifest mechanic by giving you more control over what hits the battlefield. Here's a room card that I was talking about. Unholy Annex and Ritual Chamber. 2 colorless and 1 black for an Unholy Annex. It's relatively cheap for an enchantment that draws you a card each turn. Next we draw into the Swarm Weaver. This is a creepy little legendary artifact, which is a blast to play in black-green decks. That was a solid start with some interesting commons and uncommons. And the Swarm Weaver. I'm already seeing some crazy deck ideas. Let's keep this momentum going and dive into pack number 2. Looking at these commons and uncommons, I've got to say, I'm really loving the eerie vibe that runs through this entire set. Perfect in time for a spooky season. A lot of the survival mechanic creatures show up here. They reward you for pushing them to their limits. It triggers during your second main phase if they're tapped, which makes combat even more strategic. Plus, the new impending mechanics add a layer of suspense. You pay a reduced cost up front, and the creature isn't fully realized until a few turns later. It's like a ticking time bomb waiting to explode on your opponent's board. We got the Curse Recording, the Seance board. This is an artifact from the Commander set. Come Back Wrong. I love the art on this sorcery. I have seen it before. Here we have Zemoyne, the All-Questioning, legendary creature. And the Waltz of Rage. Womp womp. Okay, Pack 2 didn't hit us with any big bombs, but hey, those comments are setting the stage. I'm feeling something big coming through, so let's crack open pack number 3 and see if my instincts are right. As we go through these commons and uncommons, I've got to say some of these low-cost cards are deceptively powerful. You might look at them and think they're just filler, but in Duskmourn, even the commons can turn the tide of a game if played right. Take the eerie mechanic, for example. It's perfect for slow grinding your opponent down. I ran a deck where every time I dropped an enchantment, it triggered eerie, and before long, my opponent's deck was getting dangerously thin. It felt like the game was constantly shifting in my favor, even when I wasn't throwing down huge bombs. And then there's Manifest Dread. I've had some fun moments where I've used it to set up a sneaky 2/2, leaving my opponent guessing. The look on their face when I flipped it over to reveal a Razorkin Needlehead? Priceless. It's those hidden threats that make this set so enjoyable to play with. Manifest Dread adds that extra layer of mind games where your opponent is constantly questioning what's face down on the battlefield. I've seen games where players completely miscalculate because they're too afraid to swing into one of those unknown creatures. Even the commons with more subtle effects like Eerie and Manifest Dread can quietly build your board state while keeping your opponent off balance. These cards might seem unassuming, but trust me, they can lead to some explosive moments when used at the right time. This is a great pull. Floodfarm Verge, another stellar addition to the Verge cycle. Like its counterparts, it's going to be a staple in multicolor decks. These lands are just so reliable, dual mana, untapped, it's like having the best of both worlds. Seriously, if you're not running these in your deck, you are missing out. Ah, we pulled another split up. It does remind me of David Martinez from Edgerunner, not gonna lie. Another Verge land, Blazemire Verge. Again, I'm really not complaining about these. I'm working on a black-green deck right now. Maybe I might need to work on a red-black one as well. Verge after Verge, Hushwood Verge. This green-white dual land is going to be amazing for anyone running a Selesnya deck. Verge lands are the MVPs of this set. Just my opinion. That was a banger of a pack. 3 Verge lands and split up. We're really building a strong lineup here. It's a nice change from the previous pack, which was a dud. Let's see what we have for pack 4. Let's build more on the Eerie mechanic. I've really had some fun experimenting with it. The key to getting the most out of Eerie is to focus on enchantments. In Duskmourn, I've found that building a deck with a high concentration of low-cost enchantments really lets you fire off Eerie triggers like crazy. In one game, I packed a deck full of enchantment creatures like Glimmers, which count as both creatures and enchantments. That meant every time I cast one, I trigger Eerie, and suddenly my opponent's deck was getting milled out faster than they expected. Tempo is the name of the game here. These Eerie triggers might feel small at first, but in my experience, they add up quickly. By constantly overwhelming your opponent with a steady stream of enchantments and effects, you can slowly grind them down. Throw in some trigger doublers or a recursion from the graveyard, and you're getting extra value out of each enchantment. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Your opponent can't keep up with the constant onslaught of Eerie triggers. Have you built an Eerie deck yet? Next, we have Tyvar the Pummeler. For just 3 mana, this 3/3 Elf Warrior is a powerhouse. He can make himself indestructible by tapping another creature and boost your entire board with his tap ability. It's a game changer in aggro decks. Letting you pump up your creatures based on your biggest threat, tap, boost, smash, it's that simple. Enduring Curiosity is all about surprise and value. With Flash, you can drop this 4/3 Cat Glimmer out of nowhere, and it draws you cards every time your creature hits your opponent. Plus, if it dies, it comes back as an enchantment, dodging removal and keeping that Eerie synergy going. Versatile, sneaky, and a card drawing machine. Next, Enduring Innocence. This 2/1 with lifelink isn't just a cute little sheep glimmer. It draws you a card every time you drop a small creature, and when it dies, it comes back as an enchantment, fueling even more Eerie triggers. It is a constant value engine. Tyvar the Pummeler is a sweet pull, and we've got some great enchantments to keep the synergy flowing. I'm getting more and more pumped. On to pack 5. Let's see if we can keep this train rolling with another mythic or something even spicier. Here's a fun fact for all you horror buffs out there. Duskmourn takes a lot of inspiration from 80s and 90s horror cinema. We're talking classic slasher flicks, eerie haunted house movies, and even some campy, over-the-top stuff that defined the era. If you're a fan of movies like Halloween or The Shining, you're going to catch these little nods hidden in the art and flavor text. Arts like Silent Hall Creeper or Razorkin Needlehead, they totally embody the spooky, haunted vibe you see in late-night horror flicks. I love how WotC really leaned into the horror theme, not just through the mechanics, but through the atmosphere and the tone of the set. It makes opening each pack feel like stepping into a different scene of a horror movie, where you never quite know what terrifying surprise is waiting for you. Whether it's the eerie imagery or the unsettling tension these cards create on the battlefield, Duskmourn delivers on the classic horror movie feel, and it's honestly one of the coolest thematic sets I've seen in a while. The Tale of Tamio is a powerful saga. Its first chapters mill your deck for graveyard synergies, and the final chapters let you cast spells or Tamio's Planeswalker from your graveyard. The Corrupted Memory is a mythic rare that combines card draw with flexible flash abilities, letting you switch between creatures and non-creature spells. Next, we have the Entity Tracker. It has flash and eerie, so it can combo with some of the previous cards we've seen. Next, the Mind Skinner is a 10-1 unblockable nightmare that turns all damage into mill. Perfect for aggressive mill strategies, hit hard, mill faster, and watch your opponent's deck vanish. Next, draw right into a walk-in closet that lets you play lands from your graveyard, and once you unlock the Forgotten Cellar, you can cast spells from your graveyard, ideal for graveyard recursion and self-mill decks, adding serious late-game power. Okay, Pack 5 had some great flavor, and a bit of that storytelling magic with the Tale of Tamio. But we're only halfway through this box. There's still plenty of room for truly insane pulls. Pack 6, don't let me down. An interesting article I came across was from The Gamer, who was expressing concerns about Duskmourn being too dark in comparison to Bloomburrow. It seems pretty split. Some fans are loving the shift into horror with the gritty atmosphere and the nods to classic slasher films, as we've already discussed, but others are questioning if it was the best move to jump from cute forest creatures to a haunted mansion full of nightmares. Duskmourn is definitely a bold tonal shift. It's graphic, intense, and unapologetically dark, which can be jarring for players who were just enjoying the whimsical world of Bloomburrow. It's created an interesting contrast, but I think it's a cool way for Magic to show off its versatility. Sure, it's darker, but that's what makes Duskmourn stand out. Magic thrives on variety, and sometimes diving into something more sinister adds depth to the game's universe. What's your take? We have Ripsaw Spawn Hunter, legendary creature with survival. We have Disorienting Choice, a sorcery. Ghostly Dancers, really getting Ready Player One vibes. Sorry if they're spoilers. Have a room card, Central Elevator, and the Promising Stairs. Boom! Valgavoth Terror Eater. This is an absolute beast of a card, literally and figuratively. This 9 mana legendary creature is a terrifying force on the battlefield. With its massive power and toughness, it's hard to remove, and its real strength lies in the ability to consume your opponent's spells straight from their graveyard. Imagine this: once you reanimate Valgavoth, you gain control of the game, casting your opponent's best spells against them, turning their resources into your advantage. In Commander, this card can swing entire matches by making sure your opponent loses access to key cards while you gain powerful options. Sure, it's expensive, but with the right ramp or reanimation, Valgavoth is a perfect late-game closer, embodying everything that makes Duskmourn so terrifying, a true nightmare on the battlefield. Pulling Valgavoth Terror Eater and that specific art style, that is the kind of card I was hoping for. A serious powerhouse for a commander. But we're not done yet. Let's see if Pack 7 can keep the hits coming. Coming off the tail of the art card for Valgavoth, let's focus in on the art. The art on these commons is downright chilling. Duskmourn has absolutely nailed the haunted house aesthetic. From creepy clown-faced nightmares to twisted spirits, even the commons have this eerie, unsettling vibe that draws you in. But what really sets Duskmourn apart is how photorealistic some of the art feels, making the gruesome elements hit even harder. Cards like Disturbing Mirth have that detailed, almost too real style that makes the horror pop. And then there's the variety. This set covers everything from psychological horror to classic supernatural scares, with some cards even sporting glitchy paranormal flares that look straight out of an 80s horror flick. The color palette helps too. Otherworldly hues and distorted landscapes pull you right into the creepy labyrinth of Duskmourn. Whether it's the modern nods with the Walkman and the sneakers, or the borderless versions of the room cards, every piece of art adds another layer of fear. The visuals alone might give you goosebumps. The Reluctant Role Model is a 2/2 human survivor that taps into the survival mechanic. When tapped, it lets you transfer counters from dying creatures to another, making it a great pick for a counter-based deck. Metamorphose Fanatic is a 6-mana human cleric with lifelink and a powerful reanimation effect. When it enters, you can return a creature from your graveyard with a lifelink counter on it. Head Shredder is a vehicle that mills 2 cards whenever it attacks. If you hit land cards, they go straight onto the battlefield tapped. With Crew 1, it's easy to turn it into a creature and excels in graveyard or land-based strategies. Enduring Vitality is part of the Enduring cycle and shines in Commander. Like its counterpart, it returns after death, continuing to generate value even after board wipes. Perfect for grindy decks that thrive on outlasting opponents and maintaining board presence. And here we have Entity Tracker again a great card with Flash and Eerie. Alright, pack 8. Let's bring on something truly terrifying, aka a really good pull. Thanks for making it this far in the video. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Magic the Gathering openings and deep dives. Over the next few packs, we are going to fast forward through the card shuffling, mainly due to the fact that we've already seen many of these cards, but I promise I will stop if we get a good pull. When you're drafting Duskmourn, don't get stuck on the idea of strict 2-card decks. The key is flexibility. This set encourages blending mechanics across archetypes, so don't be afraid to mix and match strategies to get the most out of your deck. Pretty decent pull. Silent Hall Creeper is a 1/1 horror that can't be blocked. When it deals combat damage, you get to choose one effect. Either put 2 1/1 counters on it, draw a card, or have it become a copy of another creature you control. Overlord of the Mistmoors, damn, this is a nice card. Is a 6/6 avatar horror with impending 4, meaning you can cast it for a reduced cost, but it enters with a 4-time counter and won't be a creature until they're gone. Each time it enters the battlefield or attacks, you create a 2/1 flying insect token. It's part of a mythic rare cycle in Duskmourn, often compared to Grave Titan for its board impact. This card is already seeing play in Commander, and there is buzz about potential in Standard and Pioneer as a strong token generator. Previous pack, pretty decent. Let's see what we have in this one. Duskmourn features Japanese showcase cards. These stand out with stunning artwork by Japanese artists, blending traditional horror aesthetics with Magic's gameplay. These cards are limited to the collector boosters, which we're opening today, and feature a unique borderless frame and the new prismatic fractured foil treatment, making them visually striking and highly collectible. Though originally designed for Japan, these cards bring a global appeal and are a true treasure for collectors and players alike. Have you pulled one yet? Nice! Overlord of the Flood Pits is all about synergy and flexibility. You can cast it early with Impending to build up threat over time, or wait to unleash it at its full power. Its draw card ability when entering the battlefield or attacking keeps your hand full, and while it's in enchantment form, it triggers eerie effects, making it a perfect fit for enchantment-heavy decks. The Roller Crusher Ride is a mythic rare with some serious potential for synergy in graveyard and removal-focused decks. With Delirium, this card becomes a board sweeper that can continuously control creatures on the battlefield, making it a strong choice in decks that quickly fill their graveyard. Now, Leyline of the Hope is perfect for life gain decks, triggering life gain whenever creatures enter the battlefield. It shines in token strategies, blink effects, and works beautifully in Commander with life gain focused leaders. Now, let's take a deep dive into the dark lore behind Duskmourn. Did you know the plane itself is an artificial creation by a demon moth named Valgavoth? Originally, Duskmourn was a normal place, until Valgavoth was summoned and trapped in the basement of a house there. Over time, Valgavoth became one with the house, slowly consuming the entire plane and transforming it into a sprawling mansion we see now. A living nightmare that feeds on the deepest fears of its inhabitants. Valgavoth's wings have melded into the walls, shifting reality around the house and creating rooms based on people's worst fears. It's why Duskmourn is often described as a haunted house plane, an endless, constantly shifting labyrinth of terror. One of the original house owners, Marina Vendrell, unknowingly helped Valgavoth gain strength. Now, I'm not really sure how she did that, but c'est la vie. Now, she wanders the halls, and wherever she goes, the rooms briefly return to normal, only to shift back to their terrifying states as soon as she leaves. The set's full art, lands, and room cards beautifully capture the eerie shifting nature, making Duskmourn feel alive. It's this unique twist, an entire plane transformed into a sentient, fear-feeding, haunted house that sets Duskmourn apart from the other Magic sets. It's not just horror, it's psychological terror on a massive scale. And it's what makes this plane such a standout addition to the Magic multiverse. One of the fascinating aspects of the Duskmourn set is the introduction of the double exposure art treatment. This technique is actually over 100 years old and involves combining two different images into a single surreal composition. It creates a haunting, almost dreamlike effect that fits perfectly with the horror and supernatural elements of Duskmourn. The cards that feature double exposure replace the usual magic frame with an otherworldly design, making them feel like they've been pulled from another plane of existence. What's really innovative here is how Wizards of the Coast has used this vintage photographic technique in a modern card game. It adds a unique, eerie visual twist that sets Duskmourn apart from the previous Magic sets. Here we have a great example of the etched effect, Tyvar the Pummeler. As you can see, Tyvar in the back with the monster kind of superimposed on the top. This is a great example of the new art style. And we draw right into another one, Marvin the Murderous Mimic. This is another one of those etched cards. Overall, this has been a really great pack. We've got one pack left. Let's see if we can get another big pull. So far, over the past 11 packs, we've seen some incredible pulls, explored the spooky mechanics of Duskmourn. We've seen some amazing Verge lands. We've discussed the room mechanic. We've talked about the thematic flair. We've touched upon Manifest Dread. We pulled a Valgavoth Terror Eater. We talked about the backstory about Valgavoth. We've covered the art in this set, the glitchy paranormal frames to the photorealistic horror, the homage to the 80s and 90s horror films. It is a unique blend of psychological and supernatural horror. Duskmourn honestly takes the cake. It brings magic into a new, terrifying territory. I am a fan. I'm loving this, and I can't wait to see all the amazing decks that are built. The Charred Foyer and Warp Space offer solid card advantage in limited format, letting you play additional cards each turn. It's perfect for exile-based strategies and can generate big value over time in the right deck. I'm glad we pulled the Razorkin Needlehead. It is making waves across multiple formats, especially in aggressive red decks. Its ability to ping opponents when they draw cards makes it a standout aggro all-star. It's a powerful tool for punishing card draw heavy strategies, adding solid value to any deck. Wow, what an epic box. I am absolutely hyped about today's pulls. Valgavoth, Thornspire Verge, and the jaw-dropping Overlord of the Mistmoors in that stunning Japanese style. Chef's kiss. Duskmourn just keeps on delivering the goods. If you're as stoked as I am, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and drop a comment below with your favorite pull from today, or share a great combo that I didn't mention. Stay tuned for upcoming videos on Duskmourn synergies, strategies. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.